Welcome to today's PAWSCAST.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Amanda Vandeveer, the Director of Field Education and our Social Work Department here at Frostburg State University. And today I'm joined with Dr. Ben Brauer, Director of Title IX, ADA, and Equal Employment Opportunity Office here. And he's going to talk about the services and supports his office provide us. So, we've been talking about the red zone before, but could you remind everyone of what that means and what that's about?
Yeah, sure thing. So red zone refers to the period of time between the start of the fall semester and typically through Thanksgiving break. And statistically speaking, there's more prevalence and a higher rate of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, sexual assault on college campuses nationally during that time span. And it really is a result of, just the overall piece of, people being on their own a lot of times for the first time ever, and kind of navigating that and having, to do so without maybe necessarily the skills to do so without, taking unnecessary risks and exposing yourself to potential issues and dangers.
Yeah, and adulting is a hard thing. It's a hard transition.
Yep. And then you put into that, the exposure to and availability to substances, legal and illegal, that weren't necessarily there prior to, an 18, 19, 20-year-old coming to a university setting for the first time. So, it's termed red zone. It's a highlighted, time frame with, the goal of heightening awareness for folks, that this is a vulnerable time. And, if you find yourself in situations, having those strategies, so some common strategies to keep yourself safe, travel in groups, know who you're associating with. Your friends might not be your friends. Again, really kind of vet the people that you are meeting, and knowing those trust factors, and then also the risk factors that are there to keep yourself safe and on the path that you're meant to be, which is here at university, having a positive college experience.
Yeah.
The other piece that is part of red zone awareness is things like this. Giving people faces and names that they can seek out for assistance should they need anything in the first several months here at the university.
Yeah, and everybody on campus is here to support our students, but Ben's office does a lot to support the campus community and our students specifically. So can you tell us a little bit more about why someone should or would seek help from you?
Yeah, so again, the services that I provide are related to federal regulations and federal compliance. And sometimes that's an overwhelming or scary thought. And I really want to make it a more personable approach to what it is that I actually do. So Title IX is Title IX of the Education Amendments in 1972. And in short, it's been around over 50 years. It's a federal regulation that's meant to remove barriers to your educational process that fall along gender lines. And a lot of times those things, are couched in issues such as sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, dating violence, stalking. And again, those are all very scary things that, could be on the horizon for students, but I want to make sure that we're taking a more personalized approach to that. So, my office provides supports and services to students and all community members here at the university, either, in a proactive fashion to try to stem and head off issues that they may be having, or unfortunately, if they find themselves in the midst of something, I'm, somewhat of a lifeline, so to speak, that you can grab a hold of, that we can, as a university, kind of wrap around you with services that will help support and pull you out of that situation. And so I'm an office of one, so I don't provide any direct services, but what I can do is I can link you up and kind of be a conduit to get you to the necessary offices here on campus. As you said, we all want to see students be successful, and we have a lot of supports and services for them. So whether it be, from an academic standpoint, linking them up with our Student Accessibility Services Office, whether it be from a standpoint of just needing some help and understanding, hey, I've got this situation and I need it to end, and it may be something that law enforcement can assist with, taking away the initial, hesitancy to speak to law enforcement because you just don't know, is it something that they can help with? Again, our university police are awesome in the way that they, help and assist our students. So I can be a facilitator there. If there's a counseling need that is there, we can link students up with our Student Counseling Center, located over in the Education Health Sciences Building, our new spot. Or, if there's a medical need, Brady Health, also located in that building.
Yeah.
Where to find me, I'm in the Hitchins building, Hitchins 126, but the easiest way to get in touch with me is just, in the search bar, look up Title IX on the Frostburg website, brings you to the Office of Gender Equity's homepage, which is where all my contact information is.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that if someone comes to you, you're not going straight to the police, and
No.
you're listening to them and trying to help them.
Yeah, really taking a tailored approach,
Mm-hmm.
to what the actual situation is for the individual, and then also putting them in the driver's seat, because that's one of the number one things that I find is that there's a lot that's lost when somebody's having an issue, but one of the main things that's lost is control.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to be able to give them that first look at taking back control and ownership of the situation, to be their own advocate and how to seek resolution that's best for them. And so there isn't a one size fits all approach. Again, it's a menu of options that I can present to students so that they can select what's the best course for them. And the other piece of that is that we're never on a straight path. If we head in a direction, that it 3 days ago seemed like a really good direction to go, and now there's a new wrinkle, or there's just anxiety over the path that we've chosen. There's no harm in taking steps back and reevaluating and picking a new path.
Yeah.
But again, the path has to be to control that path has to be to the individual experiencing the issue.
And I love that, because that's our job as faculty, as administration, is to empower our students and help them to get to the point where adulting isn't that hard anymore. I mean, there's still days, guys. But, in general, like, making it easier for them to understand how life works and to be able to use the resources that are available for them, not just here, but when they go out into the world.
Yep. Yeah.
I like that. So I was recently talking with some people about how we tend to minimize concerns about our own health and safety, which is a problem. Like, oh, it's not that bad. My arm's just falling off. I don't need to go to the hospital. It's no problem. So what issues do you think get minimized that are really things that need to be addressed?
I would say, especially if we're talking about the startup of the academic year, we're talking about red zone. Again, I think there are warning signs that relationships aren't positive and aren't constructive, and in a lot of cases, harmful and toxic.
Yes.
But again, there's a hesitancy that I met this group of people, and that's my friend group, because I'm in a new environment, and who else am I going to hang out with? Who else am I going to have as my support network?
Yeah.
And so we're willing to overlook some warning signs that just in another setting, if we're back home, if we're with who we've been around since maybe middle school, we would start to kind of cancel some people out of. I don't want to use the word cancel; that's overused. We would start to kind of recognize that this is really not who I fit with. But what you find is the minimization is there, and it ends up becoming a larger issue in the end. And that's whether we're talking about something that meets the federal regulations of a Title IX complaint, or just something that is, not meeting those and checking those boxes along the lines of just, again, being in a stressful situation with the people that you surround yourself with. And so, again, if, there's a need to kind of navigate that, there are resources here on campus that we can link students up with. And the other piece of that is that maybe it's finding you the niche that you do feel is your perfect fit. There are a lot of clubs, organizations, activities here that, being new to campus, you might not know everything that's there. And so those are other things that we can kind of discuss and kind of help students navigate through.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I know for myself, I'm an optimist and I like to see the good in people. So I tend to over-project that and not look at the red flags. And I think a lot of people do that really when, I picture the person as who I see them as being, not who they are.
Yeah.
And that can really lead to bad things.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and I think the other thing that, I don't know what it was that you said that made me think about it, but you sparked something. Again, it's okay to not know, where you're heading or what your programming here at Frostburg is, or what your end will look like in 4 years, 5 years when you sought your degree. I think a lot of times there's minimization in situations that people find themselves in. And they become large stressors for them. So I came here to be, on this team, or I came here to be, in the Performing Arts Center. I came here to be in the engineering program. And there are things that are just not fitting, whether it be, to the level where it's, a hostile environment, it's harassing, hopefully not. Or it's a situation that just isn't a fit. And, it's minimized because the alternative to that is kind of daunting. Well, if I'm not supposed to do this, what am I supposed to do? Why am I here? And where do I fit? And so those are all things that at the beginning of a academic year, and the beginning of a journey for folks, can be those things that you have, the hurdles that you have to kind of work your way through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of hurdles sometimes, especially when you're new to campus. It's a lot of hurdles. It's a lot of new, and sometimes people have culture shock, like, oh my gosh, what did I just get myself into?
Yep.
And that's okay. I had that moment. I think many students, when they get here, have that moment. So connecting with people that are safe, that are helping you towards your goals, and recognizing if it's not on your goals. I think that's great. Yeah. So, are there any success stories that you would like to share with us?
Yeah. So, I kind of was thinking about, what does a success story look like, from my office. This was something that occurred probably 5 years ago. And it kind of fits with Red Zone. And it also fits with kind of, the model of linking people up with the resources and supports that are available for them here on campus. It was early. It was probably 2-3 weeks into the semester, and I had a student stop by to see me. And she began to explain the situation, and she was real careful to explain it, that she wasn't there to file a report, wasn't there to get anybody in trouble, and really honestly wasn't threatened by the situation, but it was concerning. And she said that others might find it and view it differently, and have anxiety, may feel unsafe in this situation that she finds herself in, but she was recognizing it for something else. And what it was she was late in her program. She was probably, I want to say she was going to graduate either that semester or the following. So she had been here at campus, and she had her friend group, and she was well established. And she was finding that there was another student that she just kept encountering, and it didn't matter what her schedule was, she continued to encounter him. And she said, she was describing it to me, and she said, so it could be viewed as a stalking piece. She said, but if you know him, I think he's maybe somebody who's on the autism spectrum. And she began to explain that she also has a family member, who kind of has the same characteristics. And she said, she's polite to him, he's polite to her, but he doesn't really kind of pick up on the social cues that she has places to be, or that it's not appropriate that he keeps meeting and finding her. So, with identifying who the individual was, I looked up some contact information and set up a meeting with the student. And my background is 20 years in public education prior to coming here, so I am a bit trained and experienced in recognizing indications when somebody might be on the spectrum, and so that seemed to be kind of where we were headed. I think she was right on target. And so in talking with him, found that he was in his first year, first semester. He was from a couple neighboring counties over, his first time away from home. In talking with him, I got a glimpse of what middle school through high school was like. I think he was homeschooled in elementary school. And so I just asked him, were you somebody who received services through an IEP or through 504 in public school? And he indicated yes. And I said, are you linked up with our Student Accessibility Services office? And he was real hesitant with that. And his reason why was because he really wanted to be on his own and independent and not have all of the supports that he had to make it through 12 years of public education. Really, that you wanted to show that I can do this on my own.
And I think we see that a lot with students who have disabilities, who have mental health issues. We see that a lot. So,
So he's not unusual in that way, and listening with him and sitting with him, I wanted to be respectful of that, but also wanted to recognize that this may be somebody that could use some supports. And so as we explained, just like the supports and services in my office, you're in the driver's seat. So can I introduce you to? And I introduced him to Tish Cooper, and wonderful contact. Give Tish Cooper a plug here. Student accessibilities, and so through kind of working at his pace and having him recognize where his needs were and where he might need a little push and help. He graduated in 4 years and is on to postgraduate work, and also was able to kind of link up with a community of friends, which is really what he was seeking in this situation that brought her and him to my office. So again, that's a red zone success because if she didn't come to my office, as she said from the beginning, it could have been a totally different report that came my way from somebody who was reading things differently and feeling threatened by the behavior that he was exhibiting, without understanding the intent or without understanding, all of the pieces of the puzzle, that go with it. The other thing is that I don't take credit for his success. He's a very motivated individual, and everything is a credit to how things played out for him here. But I just wonder sometimes, what his road would have looked like if it would have been, later in the semester, a semester later, that we introduced him to just everything that we have to offer here at Frostburg. That he just was not aware of or wasn't really wanting to explore because of that thought of, I'm on my own, I can do this. There's no shame in just seeing what your options for support are, because it doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in life, everybody needs help with something. So.
And that's what I love about our campus. Our students are very compassionate. Our administration offices, our organizations on campus, everybody cares about the students.
Right.
They want everybody to succeed. So
I
think that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. What resources do you often link up students with on campus?
So probably the biggest one that comes along, because again, you're here for academics, are the academic support. So it sounds like, this should be an interview with Tish Cooper in the Student Accessibility Services office, but
We're We're gonna get her in one.
But one of the things that is there is a process that we've crafted differently together. Through Title IX, I can offer interim measures and interim supports, and some of those are academic. Along with, like I said, the counseling piece, the housing, we can also work with Res Life if there's a need there. But from the academic standpoint, when I arrived, I guess this is the start of my 7th year here. There was a process in place where, with the student's permission, my office could email their professors to say basically, Ben Brauer has been working with the Title IX office to work through a situation. As a result, the following academic accommodations are being requested. And again, it's with the students' consent that we're reaching out to the professors. But reaching out and broadening that group of people, even though everybody is respectful of confidentiality and privacy, we're including more people in the loop to know that there was a Title IX issue. We're not saying what it was, but we're just saying that there was one. The new process is just me simply referring a student to Tish, who can craft an accommodation letter to faculty that looks the same as what it would look if the student was seeking an accommodation because they're diabetic or because they have a physical impairment. So that's a way that we're not putting the spotlight on somebody and broadcasting that there was an issue. The other things that my office links up with is the SAFE office who brings you the PAWSCAST. And so that's a good resource there in making sure that we support their initiatives and that in turn they support ours. Again, linking up with student organizations, whether that be Greek Life, SGA, athletics, to provide awareness trainings. Again, just be a resource and support to those organizations to, again, kind of explore opportunities where we can coordinate, activities together.
That's wonderful. Is there anything else you want to talk about today? Anything we didn't cover?
No, I just, I guess the one piece that I would, include, and this is for all of our university community. It's easy to get in touch with me. The best way to do it is, like I said, if you just put Title IX, Roman numeral 9, I think you can actually use the regular number 9, in the search bar on the Frostburg website. It'll bring you to the Office of Gender Equity's homepage, which is the name of my office. And at the bottom of that page is my contact information, but the most important thing is, in my eyes, is a red button that says Begin Online Reporting Here. And so you don't have to have you don't have to have it defined that this is what my problem is. If you're reporting for yourself and seeking assistance, if you're reporting and seeking assistance for somebody, if you're a faculty member, a staff member, if you're a friend who just knows that somebody's in need of some assistance and some support and guidance, you can click that button. You can complete a report. It immediately generates an online report that comes to me through email. I really want to have it as my goal to have a quick turnaround time on getting in touch with people when there is a report. So within 24 hours, reaching out to the impacted parties, and just beginning that dialogue to say that either you've reached out for some help or you've been referred to me. Let me explain all the things that we can do, and if there's something that my office can help you with, we're here. And again, to reiterate, you don't need all of the answers to what the form is asking you. If you just provide me contact information and say that I need you to contact me, or I need you to contact this individual, we can start the process that way. And so, again, just kind of putting a face to a name, and hopefully it's providing folks with comfort to know that there's somewhere that they can go to seek some assistance.
And it sounds like you're doing everything you can to make it easy for people to reach out.
And like I said, it's an office of one, which sometimes can be a barrier because if I'm not in the office, how do I get a hold of you?
Right.
But really, if you utilize the online contact, within 24 hours, you'll hear from me.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us today about
thanks for having me.
the support and services that your office offers our campus. There's a lot of opportunities for students to come and seek your help and guidance. So I hope they do, and faculty and administration too.
Yep, and new students will see me in their Ori class.
Awesome.
We set up with the orientation classes at 25 to 40, depending on the questions that are asked. 25 to 40 minute presentation, again, just to kind of go over, how the process works and what all, my office can do for them.
That's great. That's great.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Ben.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you coming.
Yep.
And on behalf of the SAFE office here at Frostburg State University, if you need any help, if you need any guidance, please reach out to the SAFE office, to Ben, to any of the wonderful organizations that Ben's mentioned. Please reach out if you need help. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you for being a part of our PAWSCAST. This health and wellness podcast is brought to you by the Prevention Center and Peer Education Network at Frostburg State University. If you would like more information about our programs, visit us in Pullen Hall, room 109, or call us at 301-687-4761. Or you can always send us an email at safeoffice@frostburg.edu. Remember to watch our other episodes and stay tuned throughout the semester. Thank you!